In the vast, windswept plains of the prehistoric world lived a caveman named Dango. Dango wasn't the strongest or the bravest, but he had a spark of curiosity that set him apart. His cave, his humble home, was often visited by chilly winds and the occasional uninvited, furry guest. Dango needed a door, and he had just the thing in mind. A giant, perfectly round boulder. Dango strong. He'd grunt to himself, pushing with all his might against the colossal stone. He'd strain, his face turning the color of a ripe berry, his feet slipping in the loose dirt. But the rock, it just wouldn't budge. He'd heave and shove, sweat dripping from his brow, but the boulder seemed glued to the earth. Exhausted, he'd slump against it, defeated, muttering, "Okay, maybe Dango not so strong." One afternoon, after another failed attempt, Dango gave the rock one last, desperate shove. It teetered, and by sheer luck, rolled onto a fallen tree log lying in its path. And then, something magical happened. The rock, which had been his unmovable nemesis, suddenly glided forward with an effortless grace. It rolled smoothly, almost silently, over the length of the log before thudding back onto the stubborn ground, stopping instantly. Dango froze. His jaw dropped, and his eyes went wide with disbelief. He blinked once, then twice. He cautiously approached the boulder, poked it, and then pushed it again over the log. Whoosh! Smooth as a fish in water. He pushed it off the log. Thump! Stuck again. A flicker of understanding crossed his face. He looked from the round rock to the round log. Rock, like log. He gasped, a huge, goofy grin spreading across his face. The discovery sent a jolt of energy through him. He ran back and forth, rolling the boulder over the log, laughing with a booming, joyful sound that echoed across the valley. It was the best game he'd ever played. This wasn't work anymore. This was fun. A brilliant idea, perhaps the first of its kind, sparked in Dango's mind. He wasn't just going to use one log. He was going to use many. He dashed around his clearing, gathering every fallen log he could find, his movements clumsy but filled with purpose. He laid them side by side, creating a makeshift track. With a deep breath and a mischievous twinkle in his eye, he gave the boulder a mighty push onto his log road. It worked. The rock rolled perfectly, gliding from one log to the next in a seamless, beautiful motion. Dango leaped into the air, dancing a wild, ridiculous jig of pure triumph. Dango smart. Dango genius. He bellowed, waving his arms and kicking up clouds of dust. He had conquered the boulder. He was the master of the rock. But the celebration soon gave way to contemplation. As he sat, panting and beaming, beside his rolling rock, his mind started churning again. The log was good, but what if? What if the rock itself was shaped like the end of the log? He grabbed his sharpest flint axe and found a sturdy tree trunk. He began to chop and carve, patiently slicing off a thin, circular section. It was wobbly, it was uneven, but it was round. He gave it a tentative push. It rolled. And it rolled even better than the boulder on the logs. He laughed, a proud, hearty laugh. He wasn't just smart. He was an inventor. He carved a second wooden circle. Then, with another flash of inspiration, he chiseled a neat hole right through the center of each one. He found a straight, sturdy stick and slid it through the holes, connecting the two wooden circles. He had created an axle. He gently pushed his new creation. The world's first ever set of wheels wobbled, but it rolled forward beautifully. Dango's face lit up with an expression of pure, unadulterated amazement. Dango discovered many uses for the wheel that made his life much easier. He used it to move heavy rocks that he could never lift before, sometimes. He even used it to transport food or firewood back to his cave, and built a simple cart to carry logs with ease. Each day, Dango found a new way to make use of the wheel, until he looked at it with pride and wonder, realizing it was the greatest invention of his life. He had made something that moved all on its own, overwhelmed with excitement and a healthy dose of caveman confidence. Dango decided to take his invention for a test drive. He carefully, then not so carefully, climbed aboard his creation, balancing precariously on the axle between the two wheels. The contraption started to roll, picking up speed as it began a gentle descent down the hill from his cave. The gentle roll quickly turned into a rumbling, bouncing, out-of-control ride. Dango's initial cheers of joy morphed into screams of exhilarated terror. He held on for dear life, leaves and twigs flying past him as he careened down the hillside, a blur of animal skin and flailing limbs. He finally crashed in a chaotic but harmless heap at the bottom of the hill, landing in a soft pile of leaves. He lay there for a moment, dizzy, his head spinning, covered from head to toe in dirt and foliage. He looked up the hill, then back at his incredible, slightly battered invention. A slow, proud grin spread across his face. He pushed himself up, brushed a leaf off his nose, and mumbled to himself with newfound wisdom, "Dango smart, but Dango need brakes." And so, with a bump and a laugh, a new era of innovation had begun. Thanks for watching our little story about Dango. If you enjoyed his adventure, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from history. See you next time.